When I was at the Adobe Learning Conference about a month ago, somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, I really love your SCORM packages, but can you do one with SCORM 1.2? At that time, I hadn't planned on doing it, but I did it. So now I have a SCORM 1.2 SCORM driver. So if you come into learningdojo.ninja, and then if you go down to the SCORM drivers, this allows you to pretty much take any AI content and wrap it up in SCORM 1.2. And the reason why he wanted it is because that's what his LMS best supported. It's even more dated than SCORM 2004, so I was like, if you can use SCORM 2004, I would do that. But some LMSs, I don't blame him at all, but some LMSs, don't get me started on my soapbox here, are behind and they just don't support the latest. I mean, they should be supporting CMI5 at this point, but they don't. So anyway, I do have a 1.2 version here, and I wanted to show you how that worked here. So let's go ahead and go into my prompts tool. So if I head back over to learningdojo.ninja, you go over to prompts here, you can sign up for this free tool, and it has just a bunch of prompts that you can use to create different learning interactions. If you're looking to like, oh, I don't know what to do, or I want to create something that I want to get some different ideas, this is a way for you to do that. Once you sign up for a free account, you can also keep track of your own prompts. And so if you want to create reusable prompts over and over, you can go ahead and create your own. You could even share it out. If you go into my prompts here, you can share it out with other people in the library as well. Those are some of the things that you can do with the prompt tool, but the one that I want to talk about today is actually the matching pairs one. So this is a game similar to kind of memory, and you can expand that out, and you can see here, okay, create an HTML game on the topic. So you choose whatever topic, anything that's inside of brackets, it'll prompt you to choose that. This is what makes it reusable. So anything inside of brackets, what you create, and when you hit copy, it's gonna have a little text field that basically asks you to input any type of content. So again, you can come up with your own type of prompt, ask it to input whatever you want, and then you can use it over and over. Just a way to keep track of your prompts and wherever your prompts may be here. All right, so I'm gonna go in here and just click on copy, and now it's going to ask me for the topic. So let's go ahead and do something about customer service. So I'll click on copy prompt. I'm just keeping it generic right now. You can add to the prompt as much as you want here, but I'll go ahead and keep it generic. I'm going to come into Claude, and you can do this with ChatGPT if you want to. Make sure that you choose your model and then level of effort as well, which I have it as high, and then I'm using the Opus 4.8 because I don't know how long Fable is going to be available to everybody without the extra cost. So I'm going to go ahead and use 4.8. I really wish, because ChatGPT has Soul, I really wish that they just make it available and don't. I think it's really dumb that they're going to want to charge extra for that. I think Claude will eventually fall behind if they continue to just charge so much and give you so little credits there. So that is something that I think is going to be a detriment to them. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and paste this here and highlight correct matches, return non-matches face down, and so forth. I want to add to this a little bit. Actually, let me hit stop, and I'm going to just come back to this, and I'm going to add to it. I want to address the style a little bit. So I want to make it modern, vibrant, and make it have a lot of animations as well. So let's go ahead and add to this, and I'm going to use my typeless application to do this by voice here. I want to make this interaction vibrant, modern, and I want to add a lot of fun animations throughout the interaction as well. So it's just something to make it a little bit more fun, have a little bit more dynamic design as well. Just something to make it more than just, basic HTML here. So let's go ahead and see what happens with this prompt. Now, something to keep in mind, now, even though I'm using Claude, you can use ChatGPT, you can use Copilot as well. I have a video here that you can check out that talks about being able to use Opus, Claude, being able to use ChatGPT inside of Copilot as well. So if you think you're stuck with Copilot, you're not. You can actually use these models inside of Copilot, and that video shows you how to do that. Also, while this is generating, if you want to check out my full course on how to create a custom e-learning course, an entire course inside of Claude Code, I show you how to do that inside of my recent course. So if you head on over to courses at learningdojo.ninja, inside of this creating custom e-learning with Claude, we talk about how to design it with Claude Design. We talk about how to use GitHub to be able to back up your different courses. We also talk about how to create custom pages, flip card interactions. We talk about how to create the player. We talk about how to create modals, how to create a sliding bar. We also talk about how to store your data inside of a JSON file, which then allows you to go back and translate this. And so we talk about translation. We talk about being able to keep the visuals separate from the content. I dive deep into this course about how to structure. I've been building custom courses for years, and so this is a way for me to be able to share that. Now, we don't touch code at all. We basically just talk about how to prompt everything to create this custom interaction. So that's where it's up to you to be able to go in and create this interaction in any way that you want. And so even though I'm walking you through with these different prompts, you could go in and create the interaction in any way. I'm just basically guiding you through how I would create it inside of a custom course. So it's given me some design, so you can take a look at this color palette. It looks very vibrant. That's the word that I used, was vibrant, so it's definitely along that path here. Okay, so this is definitely vibrant, definitely modern. So if I click on Start Game here, then we have our different flip cards. So if I click on a flip card, it doesn't seem to be working. And that's okay. If it doesn't work to begin with, that's typical. This is where you iterate. So this is where you go in and you test it and you say, hey, I tried this, but it's not working. And you basically go in and tell Claude, this wasn't working, to fix this. And this is something I think we need to get used to. As somebody who's directing the AI, you are the one that needs to go in and test it. It's not going to be perfect every single time. Even if I was working with a developer, even if I was the one developing it, I would have to go in and iterate it. Oftentimes I see developers that go in and develop something and think that it's perfect, but they don't actually work their way through it. And so there's a lot of bugs in there. So that's something that is just typical with any type of development. All right, so let's come in here and just say that. I tried clicking on the cards, but nothing was actually revealed. And also I don't see anything that is to match it. There's also a little bit of a delay. The animation of the card reflecting is a little bit too distracting as well. So make sure that you get rid of that. And I don't know if it's playing sound, which I don't have sound coming out there. So it should show something visual. Let's make sure that we do that. On the back of the card, it should show something visual where I'm visually matching it. It should not be audio that's playing or anything like that. And this is where sometimes you probably do need to spend a little bit more time with your initial prompt. I don't think the prompt needs to be perfect. I think you can just chat with it, but you probably need to provide it a little bit more detail initially in order for it to get the right thing. Otherwise, you're going to be iterating more. This is where I think people get hung up on, is they're like, oh, I'm going to give it a lot and I'm going to do less prompts. It's not about the amount of prompts that you're actually doing. It's the amount of effort of what you ask it to do. If you're asking it to do something that's really heavy every single time, it's going to take up a lot of your credits a lot quicker. And also, if you're using Opus the entire time, or you're using Fable the entire time, it's going to take up a lot more credits a lot quickly as well. So those are some of the things that I always recommend to be able to, for strategy, to get the most out of the credits that you have without running out every single time. But it's also limited by 5 hours. So like the amount of credits, I run out of my 5-hour limit a lot as well. This is where I think if Claude doesn't change things, eventually somebody's going to come out with something that doesn't have those limits, or has a lot, or the limits are greater, that are going to cause people to switch over. Okay, so now it has a new iteration for us. Now, I always take the time to read or at least breeze through what it's done, because it will give me some instructions, some of the things that will be helpful when I'm doing this interaction here. So right now you can see that it has, okay, removing the reflection, great. Remove the reflection, the card on the puzzle piece instead of a headset. So we have the headset. I think it was playing audio and I had to match the audio, but you can see here the puzzle piece. If you like that, I'm not the biggest fan of the piece itself, the puzzle piece, but I'll just keep it for now. And then if you click on this, we'll have the word, and then we're looking for a description. So I'm going to try to get at least one match here. There we go. So we got the little confetti. Definitely have some great animation there every time I get it correct. And then up on top, you can see the attempts and the matches as well. As you start to go, you can start to see the matches come into play. Great. That's really all that I want for now. But what I want to do is point this back to the SCORM driver here. So I'm going to go ahead and just inside of this chat, let's come into our SCORM driver. So make sure that you go back into this GitHub. you can just point it right to the main directory. You just copy the URL right here, come back over here, and let's go ahead and give it a prompt. I want to wrap this up inside of the SCORM 1.2 driver. Here is the link for the driver. Make sure that you track completion once the learner has completed every single match. And so it should show a completion. It should also send over a passed and then also a 100% score. And then I will just paste in the link and there we go. Now you could actually keep track of the score. So you can do how many attempts based on how many matches that they got as well. And then you can send that over as a score. And then based on if they get it 80% or something like that. But this is just a fun game. It's not necessarily, they're just clicking randomly for the different matches as well and trying to remember where it is. So if they pass it, they get all the matches. I'm just gonna say 100%. That is up to you though. So the SCORM driver can handle that. And you basically just need to prompt that saying, okay, divide the number of attempts by the number of matches and come up with a percentage to be able to do that, or the other way around. Math is not my strong suit, but this is something that you can do. So it's going to give me, and I didn't prompt it to give me a zip file, but hopefully it'll give me a zip file that I can then download and upload to my LMS. What I would probably do is prompt it to say, after you've wrapped this inside of this, make sure that you give me a zip file that it can upload to the LMS. Now the test LMS that we're going to use is one that I always use, and that is cloud.scorm.com. It's just a great test LMS. You can sign up for a free account. You have 3 different projects that you can be working on at any given time for free. And then you can just upload it here and then just test it out just to make sure that the completion is happening. If it's working here, it should be working in your LMS. So that's the very first step that I do, is just go through the interaction, test it out. But let's go ahead and wait for the SCORM wrapper to finish, and then we will download that and test it out. Okay, so it's done. It's given me a lot of context of what it did, how it passed, sending over the score of 100 as well, so great. Now I'm gonna go ahead and download this. I'm just going to download it to my desktop here, or my downloads folder, and I'm gonna move it over here. So supports match SCORM 1.2 or SCORM 12, basically is what it says without the 1.2. So let's go ahead and just upload this, and I'm going to upload it to my LMS. This just shows you that you can create an interaction outside of a standard e-learning tool and track it. That's really what the SCORM drivers are meant to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on launch here. Let's click launch here, and there we go. So here's our game. Let's start the game. And I will go ahead and try my best to get this matching here. So I'll just speed up the time that it's taken me here. Okay, so there we go. 45 attempts, 1 minute and 37 seconds. So let's go ahead and close, and the indicator if this worked is that we get a completed, a passed, a score, and the total time spent. Now you can take basically any AI interaction, wrap it up inside of SCORM 1.2. You may be asking yourself, why do I need the SCORM driver? Why don't I just prompt AI to do that? You can totally do that. This basically has just been set up in a way where it has a lot of the structure for you. So you would have to define some of that structure yourself. You would have to say, hey, put the content inside of a SCORM content folder. Pass over a completion every single time. I still do that just to make sure, but pass over a completion. You would then have to say, okay, here's how the SCORM questions work. So you could totally do that yourself, or you can use the drivers as just a way to get you a little bit further along. That's really the main design of the SCORM drivers. So I just wanted to point that out, that you can now SCORM wrap in SCORM 1.2 pretty much any AI interaction that you create and have it pass over the data for you. If you want to check out more, head on over to my website at learningdojo.ninja. Here you can check out other apps that I have. You can also check out previous blogs covering everything from A to Z learning development related. You can also check out full course covering all different types of topics, storyline in JavaScript, creating custom e-learning with Claude Code, vibe coding fundamentals. You can also check out free downloads as well, which I'm building out a lot more of that as well. If you like this video, head on over to my YouTube channel, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, as well as hit the bell notification so you get notified of all future videos as they come out. That really helps my channel, allows me to continue to reach more learning developers like yourself so they really can push the limits of learning development. That is my goal of this channel. That's all I have for today. So thanks everyone. I'll see you next time.